Hello, it's Helen from Journal with Purpose and welcome to my latest video. Today I'm going to be sharing how to make a waterfall card and also do some journaling. I started off by printing 4 photos using my Brother colour label printer. And I've printed those at 5 centimetres by 5 centimetres and just mounted them on some card. To start off with making my waterfall card, I'm going to be using some natural craft paper, and this is 100 GSM. And I'd recommend getting either some card or thick paper, but you want it to be something that can bend reasonably easily. The first thing you want to do is cut out a piece of card that is 5 centimetres by 20 centimetres. And I learnt how to do this from another YouTube channel, so I'm also going to leave a link to her tutorial down below. I'm actually creating this video as part of a collaboration today with Nettie's Journal Journey. Nettie is one of my patrons, and each month I release some journal prompts, which are a combination of writing prompts and creative prompts, and we're both going to be releasing videos today using the same 2 prompts, which are going to be try creating a waterfall card to include in your journal and also document some of the happiest moments in your life. So please do check out Nettie's YouTube channel. She creates gorgeous journal pages and lovely videos. So I'll of course leave her YouTube and Instagram linked down below. Now that the card is cut out, I'm marking some lines at 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8 centimetres along. So I'm just marking out those points on both sides of the card, and then I will draw the lines across. I think these are so fun to make. The first one that I did I included in my last zine video, but I didn't film that process. I had quite a few of you ask if I would, so I really hope you enjoy this. The next thing you want to do is fold along each of those lines. And I'm trying to be reasonably accurate with this, and I'm using a bone folding tool to get the lines really crisp. So I'm going to fold it along all of those lines that I've drawn, but I'm going to then go back and fold it in the other direction too, to make sure that your waterfall card pulls open as smoothly as possible. The more flexibility you've got in those joints, the better. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be attaching photos to my waterfall card, but you could also add things like a little bit of journaling if you liked, or some mini quotes. I think there's so many different fun things you can do with this. And I found this a little bit fiddly the first time that I did it, but I'm getting a bit more confident now. If you do decide to have a go at creating one of these and you're on Instagram, please do tag me in. I'm at Journal with Purpose over there. I'd absolutely love to see your creations. Now that I've finished those folds, I'm simply turning my piece of card over and folding them all again in the opposite direction. And this is just to try and make sure that they'll fold back and forwards really nice and easily. And now that that's done, I'm going to add some glue. And I'm going to be using Pritt Stick, and you want to glue just along those small 1 centimetre folds, not on the square that you can see on the right hand side. And you need to make sure that you add plenty of glue to this so that your photos will stick down really well. I'm now going to attach my photos one by one, starting with the bottom strip. And these are all photos that remind me of some really happy moments in my life. And I'm just pressing them down to make sure that they go right up to the fold of the next 1 centimetre strip, but don't go over it. And then pressing along the top of the photo to make sure that it's holding onto that glue really well. I think this could be such a fun project to do with younger members of your family too, if they've got some small pieces of artwork. I'm just checking whether there's anything that I need to trim down on the back, but I think it all looks okay. And then for the next stage, you want to fold that top flap down behind your photographs. The next step is to cut out a thin strip of card, and I'm doing mine at 1 centimetre by 12 centimetres long. And I found with these A5 pieces of card, they were perfect because I could use just one sheet to mount my photos and then create the different pieces that I needed. So once I've measured that out, I'm just going to cut out the strip of paper. Once you've got that ready, we're going to glue it underneath the bottom photo. So you'll need to lift them up and make sure that it goes under the photo, but on top of that bottom square piece of card. So I'm just going to add some glue to that strip, roughly along the centre piece. I'm going to lift up that bottom photo again and place the strip underneath there and press it down firmly. Once you're happy that's in place, you are going to turn your waterfall card over and then fold both sides of the strip around the card. And to keep that secure, you're going to need some form of tape. So I'm just going to wrap a piece of washi tape around it. And you don't want to stick those end bits to the back of the card. You want them to be loose so that everything can move through it. So just wrap the tape around the two ends. Once you get to this stage, you are pretty much there. In fact, you could leave it there if you want to. You should be able to put your finger on the bottom, pull your card down gently, and look at all of your photos move. I'm always so happy when I get to this part, and I'm happy that it's worked. So the only final things I'm going to do to this waterfall card are trim off that bottom edge because I don't need all of that card, and I'm going to add some washi tape on top of it to decorate. But as I mentioned, this stage is definitely optional. I hope that was all clear enough for you to be able to follow along with, but if you do have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the comment section down below. Now that I've finished that, I'm going to move on to the journaling stage, and I'll be adding my waterfall card in later. I'm going to be using a standard size traveller's notebook insert, which I keep inside this vintage-like cover from Start Bay Notebooks. This insert has Tomo River paper in it, and it's actually going to be my last 2 pages in this insert that I'm working in today, so I will hopefully get round to sharing a flip through of this very soon. The first thing I decided I wanted to do was add some patterned paper, and that's partly because Tomo River paper is very thin, it's beautiful, but I was a bit worried about if I kept pulling on that waterfall card, how much that paper would be able to stand up to it over time. So I found some papers from one of my old flow book for paper lovers, and I'm going to glue that as the backing for my right hand page. I'm then going to trim that paper down, and I actually really like the look of that as backing paper. I just felt a bit naughty because I know that there's all kinds of concerns about shortages of Tomo River paper, so it felt really bad covering it up, but I'm glad that I did, and it made that right hand page feel much stronger. The next thing I'm going to do is add some washi tape along the middle, and that will help to keep that right hand page glued down. And I've used the same washi tape that I added to the bottom of the waterfall card, and this one came from London Gifties. I'm now going to add some glue, and I'm just going to add it along that strip on the back. So I'm going to add plenty of glue to it and then press it down really firmly on my page. The next thing I decided to do was add a quote to my right hand page, and each month on Patreon when I release my printables bundle I include lots of these typed quotes and headings. And I keep them on a bowl next to my desk, so it's really handy, and I'm just having a look through. Because the theme of these pages was document some of the happiest moments in your life, I just wanted to have a quick look at them and decide which I thought would be kind of most appropriate. And there were quite a few, but in the end the one that I went for was feeling grateful. I wanted to make sure that that quote was going to stand out because it's black and white on top of black and white paper. So I'm going to add a strip of washi tape and use that to run along the top of the quote. And I'm going to keep this right hand page really simple because I want the main focus to be on the waterfall card and also the meaning behind these journal pages. I'm then going to glue that quote down and then just add some stitch lines all the way around the outside of it. I'm just checking that that waterfall card still works now I've glued it onto my page, and it does. Probably just any excuse to do that again. I decided to add a voiceover for this video today rather than do it in real time. The day that I filmed it was so warm here. It was as much as I could do to think about what I was doing, especially with having some filming lights on as well. And I was just worried that it would be completely incoherent if I tried to talk at the same time as I was journaling. I'm going to add just one extra decoration to this right hand page, and I'm going to use this flower sticker which was part of one of my older printable bundles. And I really like the fact that the colour of that flower tied in beautifully with the washi tape. For my left-hand page, I decided I wanted to add some floral stamping to tie in with the floral image on the right-hand page. And I'm using some of my stamps, which is part of my Journal with Purpose product range with London Gifties. So I'm going to mount them onto an acrylic stamping block and use black Stays On ink. Because this journal is so full now, I'm definitely finding it more challenging stamping, so I'm quite looking forward to starting a new journal that's slightly less bumpy. But I have placed an underlay board underneath that left-hand page to try and help with that. And it definitely helps a bit, but obviously stamping always works well on a flatter surface. So an alternative to that could be to actually stamp these images onto some separate paper and glue them in. And I use Stays On ink cleaner to clean off my stamps. So I've added my first stamp, and I'm then going to add another 2 floral stamped images to my page. One thing that I do often do with stamped images, if they haven't come out quite as clear as I'd hoped, is just go over them with a black gel pen and add in any of the little details that might be missing. I knew that I was planning to leave these stamped images in black and white, so using a gel pen was fine, but if I was going to add some watercolour over the top, then I'd have done the same thing but used a waterproof pen. The next thing I'm doing is adding a lettered quote to my page. And the quote that I'm adding is "Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life," and that's by Melody Beattie. And that felt the perfect kind of way to celebrate these pages and make sure that I'm really taking notice of all of those happy moments. And the pen that I'm using is a Tombow Fudenosuke brush pen with a firm nib. And as always, I'll try to remember to leave a link to all of the products that I've used in the description box down below. To balance out the look of that quote a little, I'm using a leafy sticker that came from Aurora's Heart Etsy shop. And that helped for me just to fill in a little bit of that white space that I knew I wouldn't be able to journal inside. So I'm going to finish off my pages by adding my journal writing, and I'm using a Lamy fountain pen. And the ink that I'm using, it's a pink colour, and it's the Pilot Iroshizuku brand, and I think it's called Sutsuji. But again, I'll leave the names to it. I can never pronounce this properly, but I'll leave all the details below. And I'm just writing about some of those special highlights in my life and how lucky I am. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and do remember to go and check out Nettie's Journal's Journey YouTube channel to see how she's tackled these prompts too. As always, I want to say a massive thank you to everybody who's joined me over on Patreon. I appreciate you so much. If you have enjoyed the video, it'd be great if you leave it with a thumbs up. And if you have a go at the waterfall card, please do remember to tag me in on Instagram. I'd love to see your creations. I really hope you're doing well and taking good care of yourself, and I look forward to speaking with you in my next YouTube video really soon.